Can I ask you about that, the tax reform program that you're working on? A couple of bombshells here. The president tells the Wall Street Journal that he's not averse to raising taxes on high-income people. And we have this report that Steve Bannon is talking about a 44% rate on people who make $5 million or more. It's taxing the rich from a Republican administration. Is that being actively discussed inside the White House?
So the three major goals of tax reform here are that it's fair and simple, that it's true middle-class tax relief and reform, and that it makes our employers more competitive to create jobs, to offer employment to Americans here at home, so that our employers can remain competitive. We're one of the highest tax countries in the developing world, certainly. And we've really been strangling our entrepreneurs and our aspiring entrepreneurs, Stuart. Do you know how many, how can we ever quantify the people and tell the story of the people?
Is the administration in favor of taxing rich people more or not?
The administration is in favor of middle-class tax relief, which is different. But the good thing about working for this president and this administration is he does not shirk away from hearing different insights and endpoints and disagreement and dissension. I think one of the most ridiculous, completely flatly false things that I hear about this president and this administration is that there's no one around him to disagree, there's no one around him to tell him X, Y, or Z. That is just false. It's the opposite. It's that he has people around him at all times who disagree with each other and disagree with different aspects of what's being discussed and are always welcome to offer different insights, inputs, ideas, and impressions. And that's what's always a very refreshing thing here. But the tax reform and tax relief, two very different things, principles are the same. The fair and simple part is because we as a nation spend 7 billion hours and billions of dollars each year just complying with this Byzantine labyrinth called the tax code. We need to make it simpler for people, do the postcard or do e-filing that's much simpler and easier so that middle-class taxpayers that can't afford fancy accountants or lawyers, or frankly shouldn't even be paying the money in a software package, and they could be buying educational software for their children perhaps instead, that we need to make it simpler and easier for them to comply with the tax code.
Kellyanne, at the start of this hour, I told our audience that you were our guest and that you were the only person that I know of who's ever reined in the president's Twitter account. Did you, in fact, take it away from him or somehow filter it in the middle of the campaign last year? Did you do that?
I would never do that. I would never discuss that publicly, but I will tell you that I'm a fan of the president's ability to connect directly with Americans, unfiltered and unpunditized, if you will. And I know it really angers the media who don't want him to get his message out directly to the people. I would also point out that I'm the one who asked our press and comm shop about 3 weeks ago to do an analysis of the president's tweets just in the month of June. And in the month of June, the president sent out about 180 or so tweets. And most of them, the vast, vast majority of them, had to do with policy, bilateral meetings here at the White House, his foreign trip, ideas, things that he was working on with Congress, Americans that he had met along the way, rallies he was holding. And those get significantly less coverage than the other tweets. And I would just again say to people when they argue, oh, we would have been covering Foxconn, we would have been covering health care, but the president did X and Y. All of you have 24/7 cable stations. The networks have digital platforms. There are so many different ways to cover so many different stories and angles and facts and figures. And we would implore the media to do that because people need the information. They need to be connected with the information.
Well, Kellyanne, I'm very pleased to say that the president tweeted about this program last week, and we're very pleased to have you on the show this morning. Thank you, Kellyanne. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Stuart. It's a pleasure.